universe. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's your boy, your pal, your buddy, a little gray hair in the beard, but I'm still your boy, the nonprofit sector connector. I just came up 2 flights from the kitchen, had to get some more water in my mason jar. So I'm in the attic, baby. Where else? Just below the roof, above the 2nd floor, your boy, the nonprofit sector connector in the attic, Philanthropy in Focus. That's the name of the program. What am I about? I'm about amplifying the message for nonprofits. I'm about getting with nonprofit leaders and helping them tell their story. I'm extra fired up because there is so much backstory to this conversation we're going to have today. And Ellen White, my guest, and I were just talking about it during sort of like, call it like the virtual green room that I have set up, which is not really in the attic. It's just really in the Zoom room. But we were talking about how much backstory and connection we have. And this, I think, is this is episode 68 of Philanthropy in Focus, which I love to tell you that because that's a big deal, not because I'm so great, just because the point is this was an idea in my head and now it's a thing in the universe. And a recent guest, my buddy Michael Pardis, was on the show last week, and Michael told me as a result of being on the show, he made some connections with people that can help out his nonprofit organization. And that's the whole thing. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make connections. Last night, I had a really cool opportunity. I was the MC Tommy D, if you want to know more. But I was the MC of Little Flower Family and Children's Services, which is an organization out here in Long Island, serving children in foster care and also children and young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And I got to be the MC during their Fostering Hope event last night, which was just so special. And one of the honorees was Dr. Sandra Lindsay of the Northwell Health System. She was the first American to receive the COVID vaccine back in December of 2020. Yeah, big deal. And she was on, she was the honoree last night. And Dr. Lindsay, shout out if you listen to the show, because she's into gardening on top of everything else she does as a nurse over at Northwell, a director at Northwell. And she's going to give me some gardening tips because my wife and I bought some sunflower seeds, not the ones you chew at the baseball game, but well, they looked exactly the same, to be honest with you. But I said, Dr. Lindsay, in a room full of people as the MC, I was like, I need some gardening tips. Maybe we can talk about that. So, maybe I'll share the pictures of the sunflowers with you all as we go forward. Nonprofits change our world each and every day. I'm just trying to be a catalyst, be a part of that, get involved, and really support their efforts and bring those stories to you each and every week. So when you play connector, people reach out to you and they're like, hey, Tommy D, I need you to meet this person, or hey, Tommy D, I need you to meet that person. And my buddy Ben Markin introduces me to a guy called Mike Durney. And Mike and I and my business partner, Ed, in the Vanguard Insurance Agency, we had a meeting with Mike. And because of, I start talking and Mike starts talking, and Ed's been watching the Tommy D show for the last 17 or 18 years. So he talks when it's his time, but he likes to watch the show. So he watched me and Mike kind of chop it up, as they say. And Mike mentions this organization called Backyard Players and Friends. And I'm like, if you've seen the video already from me sitting on my porch swing, guys, I was like, wait a minute. We know that organization, which you may have heard me talk about on this show in memory of my cousin, Linda. My Aunt Ellen and my cousins founded the Lindy Lou Foundation. And I don't claim to have founded the organization. They just asked me to be a part of it because I got a big mouth and I know a lot of people. So they said, Tommy D, maybe you can help us out. In fact, it was my cousin, Vinny, like the movie, although professionally, when I refer to him, I'm supposed to say my cousin, Vincent. This is a real long setup for this. I could tell I'm just going on and on and on, but shout out to my cousins and my aunt, because in Linda's memory, we've made an incredible impact. Of course, we'd much rather have Linda back, but we don't get to make that choice. So what is the legacy of Linda's life? And we celebrate that through great organizations that the Lindy Lou supports. I'm thinking of so many ideas. Ellen White, who's here with me, Ellen, of connections, the Spirit of Huntington Art Center, which the Lindy Lou supports, right? Camp Anchor, which I know you're familiar with. Camp Anchor, the Anchor Drama Program, is I just think there's so many connections, which is usually the 4th segment of the show. So I will be quiet and put that aside. But I do have a lot of ideas, and I will go back and listen to all the ideas I had so I can make those connections later this week, this weekend into next week. But Mike Durney mentions this organization, and I said, wait, I know of them. And that was how that all happened. And I said, let's get Ellen on the show. And you, Ellen White, who's here, who's the founder and executive director, your answer was, absolutely, Tommy D, I would love to come to your attic and be on your show. Something like that, right?
Like that. Yes. Tommy, thank you so much for having me on. This is wonderful. I'm very excited
I'm
to
glad.
be here this morning. I'm not actually in your attic. I'm in my own living room, but that's good.
As you know, someday, I don't know if you remember the movie Wayne's World. So I make this joke, like the movie Wayne's World came out maybe 30 years ago, 25 years ago. In fact, it was my cousin Vinny that told me about it when it was coming out. And I remember that because it used to be a thing on Saturday Night Live. It used to be a little sketch with Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, right? Wayne's World, Wayne's World. So when they got in the movie, they got a deal to do their show. And they had done this on like a public access out of like Wayne's basement. So when they got a studio and they had like a big deal, they made Wayne's basement in like the studio, right?
Yeah,
So one day when I'm big time, we're gonna have a studio that's my attic in some studio somewhere. I guess. I don't know if you'd have to.
that's perfect. I
That
think
would be
that's
fun. Then
perfect.
you
I
can
think
really come
Wayne's
to my.
World is a perfect segue.
Yes, it is, right? Then you can come to my real attic at some point.
Exactly.
Look, I don't believe a lot of things are chance. I mean, I was raised Catholic, and they talk about a calling. And I feel in a lot of ways in my life, this show has become a calling for me. That what I'm doing in nonprofit, trying to make a legacy, trying to leave a legacy. I'm 44. My expectation is 50 years to go. And it's funny, I've been saying that for 5 years. So I guess I keep getting to like extending my life even more. So maybe I'm gonna be
You have to
200.
subtract, Tommy.
Yeah, I don't have to, man. I'm living so healthy right now. I don't have to subtract. Coffee is all I need. So the calling, this is like in my notes, it says a chance meeting in a supermarket. And my argument, not that you and I are going to argue about it, but my feeling is, was it really chance? Or was this something that you were being tapped, from the universe, from a universal consciousness, from God, if that's someone's belief, whatever it may be? You meet somebody in the supermarket. Tell me that story.
Well, at the time, I mean, we have, Backyard Playing Friends. It's an organization I have with my family, my sisters, and our wonderful partner Ryan Delaney. We don't let anything stop us or get in our way, and if a sign comes like that, we just kind of move with it.
Yeah.
So at the time, I had been helping out at Southside High School, directing a show that they call Center Stage, which is a wonderful program at the high school. It was founded by two students, Kathy Mackey and Brian Nesdell. And it had been going on. I had been helping from the beginning, but then after Kathy and Brian graduated, I kind of took the program over. And what it is it's usually a year-long after school club where we get together and we put on a show and we bring all different groups from the high school together. It's the core program, the life skills program, the lacrosse team, the soccer team, the drama kids. So it was a wonderful avenue to kind of level the playing field, and having all different types of people. Like there were no disabilities on the stage because everybody was working together, to get the show done. And year after year, I would do it, and we'd do the big senior bows, and the seniors would graduate and go off. And I never realized when young adults with developmental disabilities leave the traditional schooling at the age of 21, that there is such a tremendous lack of social activities to do.
Aging out, right? Those of us,
Yeah.
those of us in the IDD space, intellectually and developmental disabilities, right? We know this aging out. Although I will be honest with you, I didn't know it until I got so involved in what I'm doing. But I
Right.
remember, shout out to my Aunt Ellen, because it was always a concern for Aunt Ellen when Linda was aging out. What was Linda going to do? What were the services that were going to be available? So you saw this is sort of where these other children who neurotypical, as we say, right? Where
They're going to college,
right.
they're going to Bed Bath and Beyond, and they're getting their college stuff together. And the parents of neurodiverse students are literally scrambling to try to find programs and activities, and it's a real drop off in their social lives. And so in a way, I was embarrassed by it, because here I was working with this population and just waving everybody goodbye at the end of the show, not knowing what was on the other side. Until I was in the local grocery store, and a mom whose son had recently graduated. And I'm just like you would ask anyone else, oh, how's Johnny doing? And she immediately started crying and told me what he was doing, which was really nothing. So in that moment, I was like, well, we have to do something. So I called my sister Chrissy, and we rented a room at St. Mark's Church for the following Thursday. and we had 4 kids show up. And that
What was the
was,
plan? What were you gonna do?
the plan was, well, what did I know what to do? With my sisters, we used to have a drama camp. And I'm involved in the theater at the high school. So we did.
That's your go-to. Let's do drama, right? That's
Yeah,
just,
let's
we
do
know
some
it.
drama. I already got the costumes. I already have the skits.
Oh, I just want to pause 1 second. When we talk about drama, ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking about drama. Like, I don't need any drama in my life. We're talking about theater. I'm trying to be funny and cute, right? We're talking about, like, and I'll tell you, I never, actually, I was the Tin Man in the 6th grade.
That makes sense.
And,
That's typecasting.
well, I'll tell you, I didn't know I had a heart, and then I knew I had a heart. So you're right on, exactly. But I'm oil can. I remember it to this day. But what's funny about it, and I never did any more quote unquote theater, although I should have, and I'm only 44, so my expectation is I got time to do it. So we got to get doing some of that. But I will tell you, what was very funny when I look back at this, knowing that I was 12 years old and I'm 44 now, and all these years later, it was Disability Awareness Week when we did that play. This is Washington Street School in Franklin Square, where I grew up, right? My brother, my sister, we all went to the school. And then I hadn't realized how connected, and I will tell you this, and it is having Linda, my cousin Linda, in my life that changed perspective and gave perspective. I think now in 2022, we talk about neurodiversity. We're talking about mental health. We talk about different learning and who needs support here and who learns differently. We weren't talking about this stuff 30 years ago, and we were not. And you go back 45, 50 years ago, we certainly, I recently, I don't know if you've known Vicky Schneps over the years, who founded Life's Work, and Vicky and I know each other from different endeavors, back in when I worked in Bayside for many years. But back to Willowbrook, with Geraldo, all these stories, back in the 70s and whatnot. But it's funny for me. It's like kind of an arc of my own life that I'm in this space, and I hadn't realized all those years ago what had impacted me. And it's having my cousin Linda in our lives. It's having those connections. But how thoughtful in 1988, 89, that there was Disability Awareness Week. I mean, I remember to this day where there was these 2 men that used to come and speak, and both had lost their legs for one reason or another, accidents and whatnot. And it was just, I think at the time that was really forward thinking. Not to sound silly, but I really think at the time it was. And I think that looking back in my own life, that really impacted me to this day. But I think we're more aware of this stuff now, right?
Oh, definitely. And you see it, in the schools. You see it in the elementary schools, in the middle schools, in the high schools. There is definitely more of awareness. It in a way is an easier world than it was, back then.
Right.
Which is wonderful. But
So,
there's still a lot more to be done.
No doubt, we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do, around mental health. We got a lot to do in inclusion. We got a lot to do in racial tension and issues and concerns on this planet. We certainly do. So all right, I made the jokes about drama, but it was a drama program. It was theater. You got 4 kids in the gymnasium or in the church?
No, we were in the parlor at St. Mark's, which was, a small room. And St. Mark's is really the beginning of our program. I called them up. They said, sure, come on in, and supported us, all the way through. So we were in the parlor. We had 4 kids, and in came the original backyard player, Brian Nesdell, who was the student who started Center Stage.
So just to go back, because I read this in the notes and you said it, but I want to say it again and underscore it, it was all children of all abilities that were in the Center Stage program. So Brian was part of creating that, but he became part of the original. He was the original backyard player, you said?
Yes, he was the original backyard player. So in years before I had started at Southside, I was running the drama program at Our Lady of Peace in Lynbrook. Brian is the age of my youngest son, Terrence, and always loved drama. But when he was in the middle school, the stage was painted black, and Brian has depth perception. and it was difficult to be up on the stage.
Mm.
So I asked, Sister Mary at Our Lady of Peace if Brian could come over and be in the shows at the Our Lady of Peace Drama Club. So over Brian came. He was in the shows for about 8 years until it was time for him to go to high school. And when Brian went to high school, he spoke to the administration with his mom and said he wanted to have a drama program at Southside High School, and that was Center Stage.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Yeah.
So now Brian, in Brian walks, and is the original backyard player. So we've kind of followed his path.
How old is Brian?
Brian now just had his 30th birthday.
Happy birthday recently to you, Brian.
Yeah, just had his 30th.
I look forward to Brian. I look forward to, if you're listening or watching, I look forward to meeting you at some point soon. I gotta give a couple of shout outs. Sister Mary, shout out.
Sister Mary, yeah.
I have a friend, Sister Tisa Fitzgerald, who's been on the show, who founded Our Children, HOUR, and it's the hours. That word "hour" stands for the hours that moms lose with their children while they're incarcerated. It's the hour the mom gets incarcerated. It's the hour they get to see their children for a visitation, and then it represents the hour when the mom is released. And so Sister Tisa, she's so great. And I just ran into a couple of I was at the Long Island Imagine Awards out here, which we have to talk about the Imagine Awards, you and I, offline, but I was at the Imagine Awards and I ran into I think it was Sister Pat from Mercy Haven. I don't know what it is, man. Like I'm a shaman. I graduated from Chaminade, so we had the brothers. But there's something about the nuns. I like hanging out with the nuns, man. They're so cool.
Definitely.
I mean, they're really, really special ladies and great personality. We had a nun in the family. My Nana's, we'll talk Nana later, love Nana, right? But my Nana's cousin, Sister Marie. But all right, so we do have to go to a break. I just have to stop telling stories. We have to actually, we got to stay on point. We got to actually, so we've got to continue the genesis of what this thing is, and then how you got hooked into the Lindy Lou Foundation. There's a whole story there. And then the programs and stuff. So we got time to do this together. We're going to take a quick break. Ellen White, the executive director and founder of Backyard Players and Friends, is here. I'm here, well, because, it's my show. I'm Tommy D. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business, or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant. And on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargeman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Someday, you will be able to join me in the attic. You will be able to walk up the steps and join me in the attic. But My wife would kill me because everything everybody can see is messy. So that I've made a mess in the attic. Anyway, let's get back to the show. Let's get back to the story. Couple quick shout outs. I know my friend Robert Rosner is listening in. He always listens in. Thank you, Robert Rosner. Thanks, Mick Collins, always checking in. Mick wants to know, now this is back, a call back to my cousin Vinny. He wants to know, does Vinny know what a grit is? You know, I want to do, how about a ute? How about a ute? If you haven't seen my cousin Vinny, and he goes, youths, the two youths. If you haven't seen my cousin Vinny, and I imagine some of young people on here haven't because the movie's 30 years old, you need to. I mean, Ellen, you remember?
You've got it. You
It's a
have
classic. Do you think now, so my oldest is 12, mine are like 12, 11, 9, and 7. I'm trying to think if my cousin Vinny's cool for the kids yet, or if it's, I don't think there was anything really bad.
No, there was nothing bad. And of course, the scene at the end, you know, when she talks about the cars.
Yeah.
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah. Oh, she kills it. She
kills it.
You know,
And she won the Academy Award.
I take for best actress. Is that with
I think maybe it was best supporting.
best supporting? She was, I mean, I loved her in that movie. Like, and I love her. She's great. But you know why though? Because she's like us. She's like, you know, she's like Long Island kind of attitude, like, you know, our kind of people. So if you're listening to this show around the world, well, we're really sweet people, but we do kind of act like that a little bit, you know, like anyway.
Well, the voice.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, when he goes, oh yeah, you blend. And she go, where am I going to be able to get good Chinese food around here?
But you know, my daughter-in-law is from Massachusetts, and I have 2 wonderful grandchildren who say water.
Water. That's, look, you know
And when
what?
they go back to Massachusetts, I know that other set of grandparents are not loving that water.
You know what's hysterical? Because like, and shout out to Massachusetts. We love Boston. I love everybody, but like, just what I'm about to say is funny because, well, because I'm saying it, but it's funny because, like, I would be down in Ocean City, Maryland, and I thought it was funny. Like, people would say, like, oh, where are you from? Like Boston? I'm like, what? Like, it's not even like, and again, funny for me because they mush us all together. Like, and you know, we don't sound anything like they sound. They don't sound anything like we sound. Completely different. Shout out to my friend, Dr. Dorothy Martin Neville, who was always saying, she's from Southie, and she's she's an incredible coach. She actually, talk about nuns. Dr. Dorothy was a nun early on, you know, very young, grew up in tough neighborhood in Southie, and then became a nun, and has a really, you know, that the commercials with Dos Equis, the most interesting man in the world.
Yes.
When I talk about my friend Dr. Dorothy, she is that. She's the most interesting woman. She's done really, really cool stuff. Shout out Dr. D if you're listening. I'm saying hello to a lot of people. Let's get back to our story, Ellen. So you see the need, you have the background to create this, you have support.
Right.
What happens?
So we show up that day, and we just begin to have a drama program for young adults who have aged out of the school system. And our first skit was about pirates and ballerinas. And that is how we got our partner, Ryan Delaney, involved, because he had come to the class with Brian, and I made him a pirate, and he willingly put the hat on and the full costume. And then I realized that this guy's all in. So, you know, he came in. So he was our partner from the very first night.
What was he doing there? Was he just a friend?
He was coming in with Brian. He was bringing Brian in. Yeah, he was bringing Brian into the class. He worked with Brian.
Yeah.
Ryan Delaney is a vision specialist, and a special needs teacher. So he is the perfect person for us to have in our organization. Plus,
that's special. Hey, Ryan, if you're out there, hello, Ryan.
He's brains behind it. Like I said, he can do anything, and he's able to work with me and my sisters. So that's
why would you say it like that? Is it challenging?
I would think, excuse me, for anyone to come in to be a part of an organization that is truly a family organization, that's not, part of the family. Yeah. I mean, now he is. Right. I would think that would be challenging. Yes.
How many sisters are there involved with this organization?
Well, I have 5 sisters and 1 brother.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, and so Ryan Delaney has assumed that role in our organization.
That's awesome.
Keeping everything straight.
So is it a family thing? Is everybody involved?
It's a family thing. Yes. Everyone is involved. I work closely with my sister, Christine is the founding partner with me and Ryan. And my sister, Joan, runs our Love Nana part. And my sisters, Franny, Beth, Jennifer, They're all around, around for support. They do a lot of writing for us. Jennifer helps us with ideas, and Bethy and Franny help us with the writing.
I love it. I love it. I
Yeah.
can't wait. When's the next show?
The next show is going to be June 10th.
Okay.
And it's a show that was actually written in our creative arts department.
So let's talk about that. So
Yeah, but Tommy, before I go on,
Yeah,
I have to mention my brother Jim.
Yes.
Because I didn't.
Jim,
Jim, my brother Jimmy. Sorry, Jimmy.
We love you, Jimmy. We love you.
And he is our business consultant, so he's amazing.
Great. All right. So it is a family affair, and I know how these organizations go when it's run by a family. There's at times a lot of personality involved.
Right.
Times it can be challenging, whether it's business or nonprofit for that matter, just generally speaking. And it's nice to see that, for the greater good, you can work together for the mission. So shout out to Jim and Joan and Franny and Bethy. And I feel like, Matt Damon in that movie. Goodwill Hunting, when he rattles off all those names, like Ricky, Tommy, Joey, Bobby, Chrissy, the whole thing. Yeah, it sounds like a little bit like that.
It is like that. And that's what my father used to say: Joni, Chrissy, Jenny, Franny, Jimmy, Beth, whoever, get in here now. So that would work.
I do. I can never get I start one of my daughters, I start one of their beginning of their names, and then it turns into the other name. And I remember my grandmother doing that when I was like a kid. And I thought it was hysterical, and now I can't seem to get it.
Now you get it. Yeah.
I can't. I should just go like, "Hey, kid, come over here, kid." So you don't buy scripts. It sounds like you write your own material, right?
Right. Well, when we had first started at Our Lady of Peace, we were, doing the drama program there. And actually, it was after that terrible tragedy when Father Larry and a parishioner, Eileen Tosner, had gotten shot. Do you remember that terrible tragedy? It was right after 9/11.
No, I don't remember this.
My sister Chrissy was working at the school at the time, and it was a few weeks after 9/11, I believe. And everybody kind of came. The school was in lockdown, and the kids were all upstairs on the 3rd floor. And the SWAT team was there, and the parents were frantic. It was just an incredible situation. And my sister was up in the room with the teachers and the students, and she had her guitar. So while all this stuff was going on, you could hear the kids singing out the window on the 3rd floor, which was like a lot. And then when it was over, Chrissy and I thought, we really wanted to do something for the parish. And Father Larry was a big theater guy, like a big drama guy. So we were like, listen, let's start this drama program. We spoke with Sister Mary, and we started the drama program, but it was really just her and I. And when we went to go look at scripts, they were like $500 to do the script. Yeah. So I was like, forget it, I'll just write it.
I love that. Forget it, I'll just write it.
So then I just started, every year we would write the script, and then we would have a big dinner, and we'd serve, family style, and the parents and friends would come. It would be a fundraiser for the school. And then when Brian, left Our Lady of Peace drama and went over to Southside, I just naturally moved over there with him. And then when he, graduated high school, we just started to do the Backyard Players.
So that's that. So it just continues. It just stretches out.
Yeah, it's just right.
Yeah. So we got to take another quick break. So we have an event coming up on June 10th. Is that something? Where is that? Because I know you got to tell me there's a new location. We got to fill in a lot of gaps here, but where is that? And can people still buy tickets for June 10th?
Oh yeah, the tickets will be available on the website. And
what's the website? Let's call it out.
Yeah, let's call it out. The website is bypandfriends.com.
bypandfriends.com.
Yes.
Got it. All right. So it's already, actually, I'm looking, and Cessia from my team has already put this on Facebook for everybody. So if you're watching on Facebook, so if you're watching on Facebook, you can get the information there. So I know you have a story about Sister Elizabeth you want to tell. I want to hear about some of the things that have gone on. When we talked the other day about how your board was incredibly influential in some of the growth and some of the needs. And I'd like to spend some time there, because a lot of the folks that are paying attention to what we're doing here are either leaders of nonprofits, part of leadership teams, or employees of nonprofits, or people thinking about creating their own organization. So that board / executive team conversation and relationship is really awesome. So it's a great conversation to have. So I'd like to spend some time on that. And
Yeah.
again, like we talked about, this show's about you and the organization. So just let's tell your story when we come back even further.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, good. We'll be right back. Philanthropy in Focus.
Howdy, I am Joseph Franklin McElroy, host of the new podcast, Gateway to the Smokies. It airs on talkradio.nyc every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 7. Every episode is dedicated to memorable experiences in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and surrounding areas. This show features experts and locals who expound upon the richness of culture, history, and adventure that awaits you in the Smokies. Tune in every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 on talkradio.nyc.
Are you passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a small business trying to navigate the COVID-19 related employment laws? Hello, I'm Eric Sauver, employment law business law attorney and host of the new radio show, Employment Law Today. On my show, we'll have guests to discuss the common employment law challenges business owners are facing during these trying times. Tune in on Tuesday evenings from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc, now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
That's sort of it's a request. I'd encourage you to cut through the static. Please move the static out of the way. Join me in the attic. All right. So look, Ellen White, co-founder, executive director of Backyard Players and Friends, most recently selected as the Grand Marshal of the 2022 Rockville Center St. Patrick's Day Parade. Slancha to that, right? So 2020 received the Caritas Medal from Malloy College, which is awarded to those persons who have contributed generously of their time and talents to their communities, has been involved with her community in Rockville Center, that's out here on Strong Island, Long Island. The last 27 years, she's been committed to the community. I have a lot of guys that I went to high school with, Rockville Center guys. I didn't say this one yet, 2014, Rockville Center Herald Person of the Year. And in 2017, New York State Women of Distinction, and then was also received the 2018 Eugene J. Murray Outstanding Citizenship Award. Ellen, why are you so committed to service?
You know, I think it, you know, obviously it's from my parents. I mean, committed to service, it's not really a thought. It was just, you just did it. We just did it. So it was easy to keep doing it because it was really part of our
That's
life.
what you did. It was like, it was habit, right? It became habitual.
Right. You know, it wasn't talked about. It was just my parents were doing it. And so we were doing it, you know, and when I was young, early, I volunteered at the Queen of Peace Nursing Home in Queens Village.
I know it well.
Oh, amazing.
I know it well. I actually taught CCD, religious education when I was, I guess, sophomore and a junior at Chaminade. We taught at St. Thomas the Apostle in West Hempstead, not too far from where you and I are. And we went to that senior living facility over in Queens Village. It's like back by Anton's.
It's back, yeah, it's back by Anton's. My mom, you know, was the assistant director of nursing. My sister Joan worked there. And when we were young, we all volunteered. So that if you ever have a chance to go to a very special place, it's there.
I'd love to go back there. Actually, I'd love to do.
Amazing. That's service.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you, I sit on the board of Horseability, which I don't know if
I love Horseability.
I do too. Oh my God, Katie McGowan, I love her. I love her team is incredible. She was actually on the first episode of Philanthropy in Focus.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, way back in January of.
We just had two of their horses came to visit the backyard 2 weeks ago.
Who do you have? You have Aiden and Pearl?
Oh my gosh, I think one was
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, because those are their minis. This is what I was going to say to you.
Minis, yeah.
The minis, they have a like a caravan, but they call it a minivan, but
Yeah.
like a little play on words. I love a play on words, but minivan, and they put them in the back of the minivan,
Yeah.
and they come out, I didn't know. I should have been there.
Visit us. I'll send you the picture. They were outside.
So I'm going to screw this up. I know it because it's whichever name I pick, it's going to be the other one. But I think Aiden was on my show. So Katie McGowan is in the attic, as you're in the attic, right?
Okay.
And like, it's the first show. I don't know what I'm doing, like as if I know a whole lot of what I'm doing right now, right? That would imply that I got this thing figured out. But
Right.
I go, so we're like during the break, we're supposed to be on mute, and Katie and I are figuring out with her manager, Jamie, should she bring the horse in now? Should she bring and it was like people were hearing it during the commercial breaks, and I didn't know what I was. Again, people, I'm sure they loved it, but they they brought the mini into her office and had on the show, and I was like, wow, first show ever, and I got a horse on the show. So that's such a special organization. I was just going to say, I want to go out and do some work with Horseability, bringing those out to see the seniors, because they
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Oh yeah, they do great stuff, and they do a lot with Northwell and things like that as well. So I don't know where we were.
So I was in the nursing home, and Sister Elizabeth, they're the begging nuns, and that's how they get by begging for donations. And I, as a young girl, 12 years old, thought this was amazing. Like what if people didn't give you what they needed to survive? So I went over to Sister Elizabeth and I said, Sister, what happens if you don't get enough? And she said to me, Ellen, people want to help. You just have to ask them. And as a 12-year-old girl, I took that to heart. And believe me, I ask a lot of people for help. And you know what, Tommy? Most people, I'd say all people say yes. Because
so let's stop there a second, because let's draw some attention to it. Let me get dramatic.
Yeah, please do.
Because that's a big deal, what we're talking about. So I wrote it down. People want to help. You just have to ask them. 12 years old, Sister Elizabeth tells you that, and you took it to heart, where maybe another 12-year-old, it would be, okay, cool, thanks, sister. And you kind of move on. But this has now become, dare I say, a life philosophy for you?
Yeah, I would say yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. And that's a shout out to you folks who run organizations. If you lead a development team, if you're an executive director, if you're a founder, ask, just ask, because people want to help. That's so special. So let's talk about, how often do you do shows?
So we, Backyard Players, right now we do a show at the end of our session. So we're just doing a show in June, but sometimes we'll do some pop-up shows. Like if an organization asks us, we'll go and, put on a skit, like we did a pumpkin pie skit for around Thanksgiving time for a meeting. And in the fall, we're doing a Mad Hatter skit. So we like to perform as much as possible.
You're kind of plug and play, like it's a road show. You could take this
It's
show.
like a road show. We could do anything. We have our staff is tremendous, and everybody's always rolling with ideas. So like my dad said, never let a good idea get in the way of the great idea. And everybody has them, and we listen to everything, and we're always moving and changing, but keeping our eye on the great idea that's always out there.
How do you raise money for this organization?
We have a fundraiser, and this will go back to, the beginnings of how we started. We were in a one room, and now 8 years later, look at where we are. We have 2 locations. How did we get there? It's not as simple as it sounds,
So tell us that.
Family run business. But then, we applied for the 501(c)(3). We had to go through all that, things that needed to be done. And I think in the beginning, organizations like mine that start out grassroots, everybody on the board, they were all my wonderful friends and my family. So you're sitting at a board meeting and it's all your family and all of your wonderful friends. And we were running board meetings, like we would be doing things. We'd have a board meeting, we'd serve tea and crumpets, and we would tell everyone all the great things we were doing. And then of course we had Mike Durney come on the board, and he kind of really helped us get into alignment.
How does Mike get to this organization? Is there a connection there?
Yes, Mike Durney is a very dear friend of mine. His daughter Megan, shout out to Megan and Jeff, who got married last Friday.
Hey, congrats, guys.
Yeah, and I introduced them. I was the matchmaker.
Oh,
So
wow.
shout out to me.
That's really
So
cool.
we've been friends for a long time. We coached lacrosse together. We worked on the lacrosse board together, and I've seen Mike in action. And so if something needs to get done, it's a straight bullet line. So sometimes, other stuff can get in the way, a little
Yeah.
bit static when a board or an organization is trying to move forward. And to have somebody that can just shoot it right straight to you, clear through it, is
Mm.
very helpful. So
Mm.
for us to get from a small family organization to here, we knew that there had to be some change within the organization.
So let's stop there 1 second again, because I want to call this out, because I think this is critical for people to realize. Founder syndrome is something we hear a lot about in the nonprofit world. And I will give a shout out to my friend Amy and my friends Amy Zaslansky and Eileen Minogue over at the Book Fairies, who Amy founded the organization and did an incredible job, but knew it sort of got to a point where she needed to give the reins to someone else. And Eileen Minogue, who is another incredible nonprofit professional here on Long Island, took the reins and took the organization to the next level. And I think it's critical when we realize, as best we can, and we all have ego, but as best we can, to move that ego aside and say, okay, I need to now, for the best of this organization, get some other folks on this team. And not saying that, you had to step aside or whatever, but you saw in Mike this alignment, and just from your experience in the lacrosse days, as you mentioned,
Right.
what he could bring and how he could escalate or elevate what this organization was doing and take it to the next level, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we were, sometimes when you're in the trenches, busy doing the work, you can't lift your head up
No doubt.
and say, this is where we got to go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to.
It takes an outsider, right, who hasn't been in it from the beginning sometimes too, that can just look at it objectively, right? And
Right.
yeah. So
Say,
tell us,
"You know what? Your board is too big. You got to cut it down." I mean, I had to fire my parents. I mean, that was
how big was the board?
Sorry, I'm sorry, mom and dad. No,
Sorry.
sorry, everyone. Sorry, my
You know
beautiful.
what? It's funny when you say that, because they were probably hoping to get fired at some point anyway.
Well, they weren't really fired. I mean,
Wait, hold on. Did you fire them off the board, or did you fire them as parents?
No. We just said, Mike said, we're just going to, move the board more towards a working board. And these people are behind us all the time.
They're going to be there. They're going to be there
They're there.
doing the thing.
Yeah.
Right. No doubt. 100%. So what did Mike do? What was his vision?
So what happened was we got a connection with Malloy College, who does something called the Bloomberg Challenge. And I would say to any organization like mine that was looking for some help in this direction, to check it out, because other colleges do it too. It's a program for the MBA students. So, you sign up, if they choose your organization for the final semester, I think it was 6 weeks, you get 5 MBA students in their senior year. This is their final project.
For 6 weeks. This is what they have to hand this work in. This is
hand it in. They have to have a big, it's a whole big showing. We had to show up, and they had to get up in front of their professors and, the deans and pitch what they did for the last 6 weeks. So they came in, 6 students, but older students, MBA, we gave them everything. We opened up our books, anything they needed, we just gave it to them. They changed our financials. As they said, we were non-managerial people in managerial positions. We were not traditional managers. We were completely untraditional. We didn't have that kind of a background.
Right.
So I asked Mike, who was originally on the board, to come to this. And so Mike came, we sat down, and, they did the whole presentation, and they spoke that if the Backyard Players and Friends don't change direction or don't begin to make some changes, their program is not sustainable.
Let's stop you right there. We got to go to a quick break. I want to leave you guys right at the cliff. A little bit of a cliffhanger for you all. A little bit of an in-focus cliffhanger. We'll be back to hear the rest of that story. Does the organization exist? Does it not exist? We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy and Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be frank about health to advocate for all of us.
Calling all pet lovers.
Pet Avengers, assemble!
On the Professionals and Animal Lovers show, we believe the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. It mirrors that bond between pets and their owners. Through this program, we come together to learn, educate, and advocate.
Join us live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. at talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
That song was written by a friend of mine, Brendan Levy, over at the Queen's Chamber of Commerce. Irish Levy, he calls himself, Leavey, like that, because, you know, he and I are buddies, we're pals. We wrote that song together. I give him credit for it, but we wrote the lyrics together. It was sort of a letter.
Lyrics are amazing.
Yeah, I watch what I say. I mean, look, let me ask you a question, Ellen. I know you're on many, many radio shows and many podcasts. Have you ever been on a show where somebody uses the word attic in their theme song?
No.
I rest my case. Don't say anything else. I rest my case. Only show in the history of shows that has the word attic in the song. We could stop there.
Yeah,
Dylan, shut the show off. We're done. No, we're not. No, hold on. Ellen, stop. I'm very excited. I got Joni Highland Kelly checking in on
that's
Facebook.
my older sister.
Thank you so much, Tommy, for shining a light on Backyard Plays and Friends. Sister Joni, not like a real sister, but sister of Ellen. You know, Joni, love you, kid. Good to see you. Hope to see you in real life sometime soon, but thanks for checking in on Facebook. That's how the show is. It's so interactive. You can just write some words on the Facebook machine and then I say them. It's very, you know, I take commands very easily. I'll just do stuff. Like, you want me to say things like Mick Collins said about the ask before. He said, so simple yet powerful. Just ask. Like you said, just ask, right? All right. So, hey, you're probably all asking, what happened after the Bloomberg Challenge? Does the organization still exist? Is Tommy just having them tell a story about an organization that doesn't exist anymore? I don't know. I'm on the edge of my seat and I'm standing. Ellen, what happened?
So at the very end, they put up pictures of the founders and they said, and if they don't change, screen went black, they will cease to exist. So I was paralyzed for a second and then it really sunk in, and this was true. So they gave us a big, huge book of turnkey things to do. And I turned and handed that book to Mike Durney because it was true. I was teaching a lot of the classes. You know, we were running it like on our backs, dragging, and if this was, it had to be able to go on without me and Chrissy and Ryan and Joni. You know, I got a big
not that you guys did anything wrong, but we're moving to the next level. And
Yes,
to the point of the Bloomberg Six, as I'll call them, to the point of that gang, like if fade to black. I mean, if that's it, if that's where we're going, well, then we need to do something, right? Mike Durney, enter Mike Durney, fix this.
Mike Durney, I hand him the book, and you know, he goes through it. I mean, a smart, savvy businessman himself, and his recommendation was, let's, you know, cut the board down. So now we have Mike, Ryan, Beth Solferini, Marianne Nesdell, Elena O'Donnell, and Brian Nesdell is on our board, one of the founding OG. backyard player.
Look at you calling him an OG. Wow.
He is an OG.
Yeah.
And then our board became smaller, and, we really started to, utilize them in ways that, we could get things done. We could move to the next level. We were busting, at this point, we're busting out of the room at St. Mark's. So we write
time, treasure, and talent. That's what we hear about, right? Some folks can write checks. Some folks can write really big checks. Some folks can donate their time. And some folks are really good at a skill set. We got to find out what that is and use them, right? On our board.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's figuring out what your own skill set is and knowing what you can't do.
No doubt.
Like, I think that's one of my greatest strengths is I know what my weaknesses are. So I'm like, I can't do that. Let's bring somebody else in.
That's leadership though. That's leadership. That goes from all the leaders that, if I'm not good at this thing, I'm going to get somebody around me who is good at it. Let them do it. Not only I might not be good at it, I might not be interested in it. And this other person digs it. So why the heck not have them be in flow while I'm in flow, right?
Yeah. And when, you can't like squash people's, like you said, flow, their creative flow. So if you have bring somebody on, you start micromanaging that talent, you're losing what the most important thing is.
No doubt. So where are you now? You have new space.
Now we're busting out of the room and we're deciding, you know what? This really is a community-based program. So we're running classes at the library. We're running classes at the rec center, at the Knights of Columbus, at Sports Set, which is a gym in town that opened their doors and just let us in. And like I said, St. Mark's. So I was so happy with that. Here we are. People are seeing us in the community. We're not in a basement somewhere. We're not, in a dark room. We're out. You're seeing us. So then I wrote a note to Malloy College, because literally they're a mile down the road from us. And my pitch was, we're a mile down the road. You're churning out special ed teachers. We have the population. Can we come on campus? And they were amazing. And we were on campus and we were doing our theater classes. We were having our shows at the Hayes Theater. And everything was going great. We were adding classes, adding people, and, truly in the community, not with the thought of having our own space,
right? Because
that brings a lot of its own, stuff on top of it. But then, of course, the pandemic hit.
Yep.
And everything came to a screeching halt, that month in March.
Well, there was no one you couldn't have students on campus. Forget about having outside programming coming on campus.
Yeah. I mean, so we as an outside group in every one of those places, we're out.
Yeah.
And we understand they have to worry about their own survival. They had to worry about.
So what happens now? What?
So now, I went to see the mayor of Rockville Center, Fran Murray, and I said, listen, I need some help. I'm going to lose my program. I have nowhere to go. And so he opened up the rec center and we were there like 5 days. But this was after the whole, when it was time to open up again. Immediately, 2 weeks after the shutdown, we went on this lovely thing called Zoom. We had no idea what it was. And then we just started Zooming our classes, doing joke of the day, trying to connect as best we could. But you're talking about a population that is isolated on every day. You could be isolated, getting off, off the bus, you're done with school, you're isolated. So now you're pushed further back into isolation. And, we saw what could happen. People, were losing some skills, losing some speech. I mean, this population was deeply affected. And we knew we had to get back running up as fast as we could. So we went to the rec and we started to run our program there, very safely, 6 feet apart, spray painting circles on the grass, so we could have our yoga classes. And people would, everybody was masked. Nobody was crossing, everybody was where they were supposed to be. And then, Mike said, it's time for a fundraiser. And I said, well, I don't know about that. I think it's a tough time for people. And I think I'm not sure I want to have a fundraiser. How much can you ask? Dad, we're having a fundraiser. We need our own space because we couldn't keep doing that. And that's what we did. We had a fundraiser last April that was incredible. We had it on Zoom, and little by little, the money came rolling in. And 5 months later, after that fundraiser, we opened the door to the backyard. So that was 5 months.
Shout out to Mike Durney. We're going to run out of time, so we got to keep moving fast. But shout out to Mike Durney on my other show that I do with my co-host Valerie, the Professionals and Animal Lovers show. She has pom-poms. I don't have pom-poms, but if I did, should we do pom-poms from Mike Durney on that one? Because that's visionary stuff, man. It really is. I want to just say, not to just close yet, but we got 3 minutes to go. So what can people do to help connect with the organization now? What do you need? Board sounds like the board is tight right now, but like what fundraising, strategic alliances, tell me about that.
Well, what we need right now is we have, we started an employment connection where we have about 10 of our participants out in the community working in jobs. We've had wonderful connection with that. And then we started our own volunteer kind of pre-work called Love Nana. Where my mom, who is Nana, we collect baby clothes 0 to 24 months. We pack them, we wash them, dry them, pack them, make baby bundles, and give them out to young mothers and babies and families in need in the community and surrounding communities. So we have 35 to 40 backyard players every week volunteering at Love Nana. We just created 100 bags for Mercy Hospital. They asked us to do it, and we did it, and they were beautiful. So we could always use some help there. That's completely donation based, completely volunteer. And your Aunt Ellen actually is our ironer.
I heard she irons. I know. I did hear that. All right, I have like 15 things I got to say right now about that. Allied Foundation, my friend Heather Edwards runs an incredible organization, Diaper Bank here on Long Island. If you need diapers, let's talk about that. You and I, text me later. We'll get on another phone conversation. I want to do a day of service with you guys at some point. Maybe Aunt Ellen will get out of the way and let me iron or whatever happens there. Maybe I can help her with the iron. Tomorrow I'm at the Best Buddies Friendship Walk. I don't know. I'm on the state board for Best Buddies. So I don't know if you're familiar with Best Buddies.
Oh, yes.
We should talk about that. Spirit of Huntington Arts Center. Okay, we should talk about Spirit of Huntington. Horse ability, obviously. I want to be your friend. I can't wait to meet your whole family. On June 10th, my dad owns a Ralph's Italian Ices out here on Long Island. On June 10th, if you want ices and it's appropriate for the event,
that'd be perfect.
Let's talk about that for the kids and whatnot. Bring me into your world, bring me into your network. Let me know how I can help. Let me know how my people can help. Thank you for being here, Ellen White.
Oh, thank you, Tommy. Thanks so much for having us.
You're
and
welcome.
shining the light.
You got it. I love shining lights. One last thing. Give me the website real quick before I say a couple other words.
Okay, the website is bypandfriends.com. bypandfriends.com.
bypandfriends.com. Ellen White, thank you for being my friend. All right, really quick, let's shout out next week. We're going back to the well. We're going back to the Institute for Nonprofit Practice Well. My friend, my colleague, Kaz Alexander Pinkard will be here from an organization called Hit the Books, which provides after-school educational programs, mentorship, martial arts training in Harlem, New York City, to children aged 6 through 13. To really get them to hit the books. Again, cute pun. I like puns. I like wordplay, fun stuff. Ellen, have a great day. Everybody else, make it a great day. Your boy, the Nonprofit Sector Connector. See you.